My name is Jerome. I am 35 years old. I carry a memory that still burns inside me. It is a memory of pride. It is also a memory of something I can never repair. I once owned a small restaurant. It was my whole life. I believed it was my success. I believed it was my hard work that built everything. Now I know pride can make a man blind. The restaurant stood on a quiet street near the center of town. It was not fancy. The tables were simple wood. The chairs were old but strong. The smell of warm bread and coffee filled the air every morning. I liked that smell. It felt like proof that I had built something real. I woke up early every day. I unlocked the door before the sun came up. The street outside was quiet at that hour. Only a few buses passed by. I always liked those calm moments before customers arrived. Inside the kitchen, the lights were bright. The metal counters were cold. I checked everything with care. The vegetables, the bread, the soup pot. I believed every small detail mattered. But the truth is, I did not run the restaurant alone. There was a man named Victor. Victor worked for me for many years. He was quiet. He moved slowly but carefully. He never complained. If something broke, he fixed it. If a delivery was late, he waited. If a customer needed help, he was there before anyone asked. He was 5 years younger than me, tall and thin. His hair was always a little messy. His hands were rough from work. Victor was the kind of worker every owner hopes to find. But I did not see that clearly at the time. Back then, I believed the restaurant was my success alone. Every morning, Victor arrived before the other workers. Sometimes he arrived before me. When I opened the door, I often saw the kitchen lights already on. He would look up and give a small smile. "Morning, Jerome," he would say. That was usually all. Victor was not a man who talked much, but he worked with care, real care. Customers liked him. Many regular customers asked for him by name. If a table needed help, Victor appeared quietly. He did not rush. He did not forget orders. He listened. People felt comfortable around him. Sometimes I noticed this. Sometimes I felt proud that my restaurant had a worker like Victor. But sometimes something else moved inside me. Something small, something hard. Pride. A restaurant owner hears many voices. Workers talk, customers talk, suppliers talk. Everyone has something to say. At first, I ignored most of it. But one voice slowly became louder. A young waiter named Oliver worked with us for about a year. Oliver was friendly. He laughed easily. Customers liked him too. But Oliver talked a lot. Sometimes too much. One afternoon, he came to my office in the back of the restaurant. I was checking numbers in a notebook. He closed the door behind him. "Jerome," he said quietly, "I think you should know something." I looked up. "What is it?" He stepped closer to the desk. "I may be wrong, but I think Victor has been taking food home. Not small things. Boxes." I felt my stomach tighten. "What do you mean?" I asked. Oliver shrugged a little. "I saw him carry things out after closing. Meat, bread, a few times." The room felt very quiet. Victor had worked with me for years. Years. But pride has a strange power. It tells you that you are always right. It tells you that you understand people better than anyone. And sometimes pride pushes away trust. "Are you sure?" I asked. Oliver nodded slowly. "I thought you should know." Then he left the office. I sat there for a long time. I looked at the numbers in the notebook, but I could not read them anymore. My thoughts moved in circles. Victor had keys to the kitchen. Victor often stayed late. Victor sometimes left after everyone else. Small details began to grow bigger inside my mind. I told myself I was protecting my business. I told myself I was being responsible. But the truth is simpler. I did not ask Victor for the truth. That evening, the restaurant closed at 10. Customers slowly left. The workers cleaned the tables in the kitchen. One by one, they went home. Victor stayed behind, like he often did. He was wiping the metal counter when I walked into the kitchen. The bright lights reflected on the clean surface. Victor looked up. "Everything okay?" he asked. I did not sit down. I did not breathe slowly. My voice was already hard. "Victor," I said, "I heard something today." He waited. "Someone told me you've been taking food from the restaurant." The cloth in his hand stopped moving. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke quietly. "I haven't stolen anything." His voice was calm, but my pride had already built a wall inside me. "Then why are you carrying boxes out after closing?" I asked. Victor looked at me carefully. "I take leftovers," he said, "food that would be thrown away." "That is still my property," I replied quickly. Victor stood very still. "I always asked before," he said. "That was years ago," I said. "You didn't ask recently." The silence in the kitchen grew heavy. I could hear the soft sound of a refrigerator running in the corner. Victor placed the cloth on the counter. "Jerome," he said slowly, "I would never steal from you." Something about his calm voice made my pride feel challenged. I crossed my arms. "You should have asked." "I thought it was understood," he replied. Those words felt like disrespect to me at the time. My voice became sharper. "Understood? This is my restaurant." Victor lowered his eyes for a moment. "I know," he said. But the damage inside my mind had already happened. Pride had turned suspicion into certainty. "I can't keep someone here if I don't trust them," I said. Victor looked at me again. "Jerome, please listen." But I did not want to listen. "I think it's best if you leave," I said. The words felt strong when I said them, strong and powerful. But the moment after felt strange. The kitchen seemed bigger and colder. Victor stood there for a long time. He did not argue. He did not shout. That silence felt heavier than anger. Finally, he spoke. "After all these years?" I did not answer. My pride would not let me. Victor slowly removed his apron. He folded it neatly and placed it on the counter. "I gave my best to this place," he said quietly. Something inside me moved slightly, but I pushed the feeling away. "You can collect your last payment tomorrow," I said. Victor nodded once. When he walked toward the door, he stopped for a moment. He did not turn around. His voice was calm but heavy. "One day, you may understand what you just did." Then he left. The door closed softly. At that moment, I felt certain I had protected my restaurant. I believed I had done the right thing. But pride often feels like strength in the moment. Only later does it show its real cost. And that cost was waiting for me, waiting quietly for many years. For a few weeks after Victor left, I told myself nothing had changed. The restaurant still opened every morning. Customers still came, plates still moved in and out of the kitchen. Life continued. But something small was missing. At first, I could not name it. I walked through the kitchen and noticed little delays. Orders took longer. The soup pot sometimes boiled too hard. Deliveries were not checked carefully. Victor used to notice those things. Now, no one did. The workers tried their best, but something felt different. Customers also noticed. Some regular customers asked simple questions. "Where is Victor?" I kept my answer short. "He left." They nodded politely, but I saw the surprise on their faces. Victor had become part of the place. Many people trusted him. Many people liked his calm way of working. I told myself the restaurant would adjust. But problems slowly grew. A cook quit 2 months later. A new cook arrived, but he did not stay long. The kitchen became noisy. Mistakes happened more often. Customers began to visit less. The small restaurant that once felt warm now felt tired. And still, my pride refused to look back. Years passed like that. Not all at once, slowly, like quiet dust settling on old furniture. The restaurant lost money. I tried new ideas, I changed the menu, I painted the walls again, but something deeper was broken. Eventually, I had to close the restaurant. The day I locked the door for the last time felt strange. The street outside looked the same. Cars passed by, people walked past the windows. But inside, everything was empty. The tables were gone, the chairs were stacked, the kitchen lights were off. I stood there, alone. For the first time in many years, I allowed myself to think about Victor. His calm voice, his steady hands, the way he always arrived early. A quiet weight filled my chest. I began to understand something painful. Victor had not just been a worker, he had been the heart of that place. And I had pushed him out. I did not lose the restaurant in one day. I lost it the moment I let pride speak louder than trust. For a long time after the restaurant closed, I worked small jobs. Nothing special, just enough to live. But the memory of Victor stayed with me. Not as anger, as regret. Deep regret. One afternoon, I sat in a small cafe across town. The coffee was warm in my hands. People around me talked softly. A man at the next table was speaking with his friend. "Have you been to Victor's place?" he asked. My head lifted slowly. "Victor's place?" his friend said. "Yes, the new restaurant on River Street. Everyone says it's excellent." My heart gave a small, strange movement. Victor? Could it be the same man? I listened quietly as they talked. They spoke about the food, the calm service, the friendly owner who often greeted customers himself. The description felt familiar, very familiar. That evening, I walked to River Street. The restaurant was easy to find. Warm lights filled the windows. People were waiting outside for tables. I stood across the street for a long time. The sign above the door was simple: Victor's Kitchen. My chest felt tight. Inside the windows, I could see people eating and laughing. Workers moved smoothly between tables. The place felt alive, alive in the way my restaurant once felt. I crossed the street slowly. My hand hesitated before opening the door, but I stepped inside. Warm air and the smell of food greeted me. The room was comfortable and bright. Wooden tables, clean floors, quiet music. Then I saw him. Victor stood near the kitchen entrance speaking with a customer. His hair was a little shorter now, his shoulders looked stronger. But it was the same calm face. He thanked the customer and turned. Our eyes met. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Victor walked toward me. His steps were steady. "Jerome," he said. He had recognized me immediately. I nodded. "Hello, Victor." The noise of the restaurant continued around us. Plates moved, people talked. A server walked past carrying drinks. Victor studied my face for a moment. "It has been many years," he said. "Yes." The word felt small in my mouth. I looked around the restaurant. "You built this," I said quietly. Victor followed my gaze. "Yes." His voice was calm, but I could sense the strength behind it. "I heard people talking about it today," I said. "They said it's one of the best places in town." Victor did not smile proudly. He simply nodded once. "I worked hard," he said. A silence grew between us. My hands felt heavy. "I came to say something," I said slowly. Victor waited. I was wrong. The words felt difficult, but also necessary. I should have listened to you. I should have trusted you. Victor did not interrupt. "I believed a rumor," I continued. "I let pride decide for me." The restaurant noise seemed softer now. I looked down at the floor. "I lost my restaurant," I said. "But more than that, I lost something important that day." Victor remained quiet. Finally, he spoke. "I remember that night very clearly." His voice was not angry, but it carried weight. "I walked home with my apron in my hands," he said. "People in the street looked at me. I felt small." His words pressed gently but firmly against my chest. "I had given years of my life to that kitchen," he continued, "and in one moment, you treated me like a thief." I swallowed slowly. "I know." The word felt heavy. Victor looked around his restaurant. "That moment stayed with me for a long time," he said. Then he looked back at me. "It pushed me to build this place." I nodded quietly. "You did something incredible," I said. Another pause followed. Then I spoke again. "I hoped maybe you would consider letting me work here." Even as I said the words, I felt their weight. The proud owner I once was had disappeared. Now I stood there asking for a chance. Victor looked at me for a long moment. Then he shook his head gently. "No, Jerome." The answer was calm, but it was final. "This restaurant was built from a painful memory," he said. "I cannot bring that memory back into my kitchen every day." I nodded slowly. The answer hurt, but I understood. "I am glad you came to apologize," Victor added. His voice softened slightly. "That means something." I felt a small warmth in my chest. Not forgiveness, but honesty. I looked around the room once more. People were enjoying their meals, laughter filled the air, the place felt steady and strong. Victor had created something beautiful, something I once had and lost. I stepped toward the door. Before leaving, I turned back. "I truly am sorry," I said. Victor gave a quiet nod. "I believe you." That was enough. I walked outside into the evening air. The streetlights glowed softly above the sidewalk. For a moment, I stood there looking through the window at Victor's restaurant. He moved calmly between tables, speaking with customers. He looked confident, at peace. I realized something then. Pride is like a closed door. When it stands between two people, time keeps moving. Opportunities keep moving. Life keeps moving. And sometimes, by the time you open that door again, the person on the other side has already built a new life. I turned and began to walk down the street. My apology had arrived many years late. Too late to change the past, but not too late to understand it. And as I walked away, one quiet thought stayed with me. Some mistakes are not loud like thunder. They are quiet, like a door closing softly behind someone you should have trusted.